Thank you guys so much for being here today. Today we have Jim Spears, who is the owner, CEO of Swim Gym, New York and Texas, president of Stop Drowning Now Foundation, and president member of NDPA SSSA WABC International Swimming Hall of Fame. Jim Spears is a career and lifelong professional in all aspects of swimming and water safety instruction, coaching, curriculum developing, and teaching methods. A Texas native, Jim moved to New York in 1990 to operate a growing swim school program while contemporaneously creating a children's theater program. Eventually, he founded his own enterprise, and Swim Gym, I'm sorry, dyslexic, right? Incorporated was born in 1998. So take it away, Jim.
Thanks, Livy, and I'll also do a little bit more of an intro. I'll do a little bit more of an intro later on. Hi, everyone. Good morning, or good late morning, I guess it should be. And thank you for joining in. I'm going to run a video, and then I will do my intro and tell you a little bit more about me. So let's just get started.
Breaking news from West Houston right now, where 2 children have been rushed to the hospital after being pulled out of a pool.
Pools claimed the lives of 3 children in Fayette County alone this summer.
A frantic search for a 1-year-old boy yields a devastating result. He was found in his grandparents' backyard swimming pool. Channel 2's Phil Archer live in Texas City with more on the child's drowning tonight.
Somewhere between 30 seconds and 3 minutes, we don't know. Amber and I are inside our pool gate doing CPR on our son.
We had no idea that there was any access to the back of the home. We were packing the car and Sage slipped away for moments, but that was too long.
All of a sudden, it was just too quiet for me. We were mid-conversation, and I stood up, and I turned, and I walked right to where the boys were, and I said, "What does that mean?" And the door that leads to the backyard, that was closed, had this tiny sliver of light. And my heart sank, and I opened the door, and she was floating in the pool.
It's the number one way that you could potentially lose your kid. If it's number one for me, I want to know about it.
I think we did the best with the knowledge that we had. You didn't hear anything. I didn't hear anything. That was trash.
He was struggling. Machen had one hand out. He was trying to get us to help him, but he was going too far out.
Truly seconds. I was still, the brownie that was in my mouth that I had split with Levi, I was still not finished eating it when I jumped in the water to get him. That is how quickly he got away from us and how quickly he drowned. I just needed 1 minute. I just needed 1 minute. If I could just have that 1 minute, it would have been okay. How did he even get out?
We were getting ready to go on the boat, and with all the commotion, we thought everybody else had her, and she ended up falling in the river.
You need to think of water completely differently, almost like you're sitting here and I'm looking outside of my pool, and that is a lion. That is a lion, that is a kidnapper, that is something that could take my child in 30 seconds. And the moment those 30 seconds are up, the likelihood of you getting your child back is pretty close to zero.
Where does the work need to be done? I mean, on one hand, everyone knows that water can be dangerous. And on the other hand, nobody seems to take it as seriously as it needs to be taken.
It's the intensity behind the conversation, and it is 100% preventable.
Sorry about that, guys. It just went out of presenter mode. There we go. Well, thank you guys again for having me. That video is always tough for me to watch. We use that some because a lot of times we get so focused on the fact that we need to be teaching children to swim and educating children that we forget about the parent side of it and educating the parents. And so I think that's something that we need to focus on, and we'll talk a little bit about today. And it's just the fact that the parents just don't know, and we need to help them understand that it can happen to them. Drowning can happen to them and their family. So I'm Jim Spears, and I'm the CEO of Swim Gym in New York and in Texas, as Libby said earlier. I've got 40 years teaching experience. I started teaching at 17. You can do the math, and that tells you kind of how old I am. And yes, I'm the president of Stop Drowning Now, which is a drowning prevention not-for-profit. And as she said a little bit, I've been featured on all these television, newspaper shows, news shows. Part of the reason is because Stop Drowning Now is president. They reached out to me when the drownings like what we saw earlier happened. And so I actually spoke to all of those drownings on those networks. And so now let me talk a little bit about Stop Drowning Now and how it got to be Stop Drowning Now. So we originally started about 17 years ago. We were born out of the United States Swim School Association, and you heard from Lisa Zarda, who is the executive director of the association, in the last group of talks. We started as Swim for Life, and because the association wanted a message. So they wanted a drowning prevention message, and so we came up with the message, the Safer 3. We stayed Swim for Life for a while, but when we started developing curriculum, we started developing products, we decided that we needed to create, change the name and make it Safer 3. And so the foundation went from being Swim for Life, and then it went to being Safer 3. And that's where it kind of sat until I took over as president 9 years ago. About 2 years, year and a half, 2 years into my presidency at Stop Drowning Now, I realized that what we were doing is we were acting as a foundation. We were kind of sat back in our chairs, and we were doing stuff, and we were getting information out there, and we were doing the work, but there wasn't the energy behind the need to get out there and educate to eliminate drowning. And so we had a strategic planning session in Houston, and we decided to all go to lunch in the Galleria across the way, which is a big mall in Houston. And hanging up in the rafters of the Galleria was the Herman Hospital's new cancer campaign. It was the no sign with the slash through it, no more cancer. And we all realized at that exact moment, haha, the light went off, Stop Drowning Now. That's what we need to be. We need to be a cause. We need to be a reason. We need to be a movement. We need to stop being a foundation. We need to stop sitting idle, and we need to take action and move forward and have a cause mentality. And from that day forward, that's what we're doing. We're acting as a cause, we're moving forward, and we're trying to give leadership to folk to help them get into that same mindset. We need to take action. We need to move forward. And that's kind of how Stop Drowning Now became Stop Drowning Now. Stop Drowning Now's mission is to educate to eliminate drowning. And how do we do that? What we do is we have a curriculum that we put into schools. We have information for parents, and we have information for communities. And so we're going to talk a lot about that in this presentation. And let's just get started, shall we? So let's work together. We need to educate the public through media, which we kind of talked about, government, schools, and community outreach. And the reason why I put government into this slide is because, as you guys know in Florida, and we know in New York, we know in Texas, government is becoming more and more involved in water safety education. And we need to make sure that we talk to the government, talk to our assembly members, talk to our state representatives, and make sure that they're working on the things that will actually move the needle to prevent drowning. We want them not to just do the things that they're hearing that they should be doing. We need to take action and reach out to those assembly members and those Senate members and ask them to take the appropriate action so we can move that needle. It's pretty easy. You just pick up the phone and you call them, and hopefully they call you back. If not, you just keep calling them, and then at some point you can hopefully get a meeting with them and talk about that legislation and try to have an impact on that legislation. And by the way, the legislation is not going to go away, so we need to be a part of it. So we're going to walk through Stop Drowning Now's path to water safety education. I hope this inspires you, and I hope it gives you some great ideas for you to try. and or you come along on the Stop Drowning Now journey and go with us on our journey to become a cause. So I tried to do the facts a little bit differently, and I'm going to read them because I put them in a little bit differently. I know you guys have gotten a lot of facts so far today already, or in Tuesday as well. So let me give a shot reading these. Drowning accounted for 1/3 of the unintentional injury-related deaths for children 1 to 4 out of the top 10 incident types. That's just a different way to look at it. So it's, part of the top 10. The CDC reports that 636 drowning fatalities among children 0 to 14 is 636. Number one, drowning, as we know, is the top 3 unintentional injury-related fatalities for ages 1 through 35. And I think that's an important number because we always talk about children drowning and we forget about adults. And right there in that number, it talks about 1 through 35. So adults, which are the bigger population in the drowning statistics, we sometimes leave them out and we focus on the children. We need to focus on both. More than 1 in 5 people who die from drowning are children 14 and younger. And then for every child who dies from drowning, another 5 receive emergency department care for non-fatal submersions, as per the CDC. I was fortunate enough a few years ago to be invited to speak at the International Lifeguarding Conference in Ireland. And there was a lot of really smart, intelligent people there. And what they were saying was globally, they believe there's 1 million drownings a year. They do not have the statistics yet to prove that, but they believe there are 1 million drownings a year. And unfortunately, most of them are not reported. They believe that China, Vietnam, India, Russia, some areas in South America are not reporting the statistics as accurately as we need them to do so. So with that said, if there are supposedly 1 million drownings a year, 1 million deaths a year, that means 5 million more people are impacted by drowning, whether it be just being submerged, going underwater, all the way to fatal. That's a big number. That's an epidemic number. That's a bigger conversation. And yes, we have 3,500 drownings a year in the United States, but 1 million is a much bigger number, and it's something we really need to focus on. So there's a reason to believe, I don't know if you guys have heard this yet, but there's a reason to believe that there is potential for drownings to increase this summer. NDPA, USA Swimming, everyone believes that because there was a season last spring, where a lot of swimming lessons did not take place because we were not allowed to open. There's a season this year where lessons are just starting to take place again. They're under restriction. Like in New York, we're still under 33% capacity, so we can't even bring all the kids back. Or as I think you guys probably heard Lisa Zarda say, at least 70,000 children in the Swim School Association did not come back to lessons. We are not seeing the return to lessons as fast as we need to. So now we are 2 seasons in where children have not had swimming lessons. That creates a potential for us to have more drownings in the summer. Also, with the closing of pools or the lack of revenue for pools to be open, like in New York City, children will find some other place to swim, probably a non-supervised area, and drownings will go up because of that as well. So we need to start getting the information out there to parents, to the media, to the communities that drowning could be a bigger issue this year, and we need to pay better attention. Stop Drowning Now's program educates communities about drowning risk before they even reach the pool. And we teach them how to protect themselves and what to do in an emergency. It's simple, it's fun, it's effective, it's imaginative. They get to use their imagination, and it's done in the classroom. This is not swimming lessons. Stop Drowning Now is a classroom activity. It's learning in the classroom. I know that we want to talk about swimming lessons. I own swimming schools. I'm on the wet side all the time within my swimming schools. But we have to have a global approach to this. We have to do classroom as well as swimming lessons. Many, many children will not be able to take swimming lessons because they may not be able to afford it. They may not have access to pools. They're just not going to have the ability to take those lessons. I know there's the bill in Florida to try to get swimming lessons for every child under the age of 5, which is amazing. But even in Florida, you're going to have children that are going to come from vacations, from other states and whatnot, that may or may not have had swimming lessons. So we need to find a way to reach those children in a way that they can become educated about water safety. That's in the classroom. All children are in a classroom. So that's probably the best way to reach them for the beginning step about water safety education, which will then in turn help when they go to the pools and start to swim and learn to swim. So what is the Safer 3? Well, it's the dry side, like I was just talking about. So it's not the wet side, which is the swimming lessons. And the Safer 3 is the 3 risk areas in drowning. So the first risk area that we know about is safer water. So it's the water, it's the place, it's the body of water. And so what the Safer 3 does in safer water is it identifies drowning risk and dangers at the pools, the rivers, lakes, oceans. Are there fences? Are there gates that close automatically? Are there alarms? Are there pool covers? So it takes all that water, and that's what it talks about, and it educates the children about that and the parents about that. And that's Sammy Starfish up there. He's the character for Safer Water. Safer Kids is about learning to swim, which we were just talking about as well. It's also about supervision and proper safety gear. So, and that's Gilbert, that's Timmy Tadpole. So Safer Kids is about swimming. Safer Response is knowing CPR, knowing first aid, having an emergency action plan at your house that is practiced, not just sitting there, and knowing all your emergency numbers and all your emergency protocols and practicing those as well. So together with those 3, we feel that we've taken care of all the areas and the risk areas of drowning, and hopefully if we educate people on those, we can help reduce that risk. So these are the 4 areas of stuff we're going to talk about coming forward. So we're going to talk about Stop Drowning Now cities or No Drown Towns. We have a new product of storyboards that you can use in the classrooms that we're going to talk about, high school clubs, and water safety days. And so we're going to hit all these different areas as we move forward. And so let's get to it, shall we? So the Safer 3 curriculum. Now this slide is about a classroom. So this is a classroom with a puppet show going on in that, I think it's y'all's left corner. There's a script in the Stop Drowning Now curriculum and the Safer 3 curriculum that talks about the puppet show and how to teach it and how these kids are learning. And so it talks about safer water, safer people, safer response. And this is a slide with a lot of information. And what I'm going to do is while you guys kind of read through it and look at it, I'm just going to talk over it and not really read the slides, you guys. So the curriculum, Stop Drowning Now's curriculum, the Safer 3 curriculum, was developed by 2 educators out of Texas. They both together have a combined 84 years in teaching in elementary school. They developed a program that is done through exploratory learning. And what it is about is the children going in and doing the activities instead of us just reading to them. So if they're needing to be a fence, they become a fence. If they're needing to be learn about depth, they have depth ways to do that. They have science in there. They have reading in there. They have take homework with the parents. So they have to go home and do homework with the parents. So the parents are learning as well. It includes the platform, which is where it sits. And in that platform, there are multiple areas. So there's the 5 areas you see there on the left. And the first one is the intro. And that section is about water, science, what is water, what is depth, what they're going to learn in the program. The second one and third and fourth one would be Safer Water, Safer Kids, and Safer Response, which we kind of talked to about before. And so all of that would be the 4 learning processes. The cool part about this program, which I really like, is the fifth one, which is the celebration. And the celebration is when the parents get to come back to the classroom with the kids with their emergency action plans that they made at home, with their all the scavenger hunts work that they've done at home. They get to share that with the classroom in front of their parents and celebrate the fact that they've learned and they've now become a safer me with the Safer 3. So it's a really cool, just kind of ties it all together. And so as soon as we were able to get back into the classrooms and have all the children back, we're hoping to relaunch the curriculum and get that moving again. Currently in Florida, it's actually in Hillsborough County. The curriculum is being used in Hillsborough County. And it has been done in the Head Start program. And what they do there is they teach the curriculum in the classroom in the Head Start program. And then there's YMCAs that support them. And they go to the YMCAs to do the wet side and learn to swim there. The next part of there is more about just the slides and what you can do. Back to the big thing, the big cool thing is the teachers, any educator, anyone with an EDU in their email can log in, request access to the curriculum, and we give that to them for free. Our goal is for them to get the curriculum into the classrooms and use it and teach the children about drowning prevention. We will fundraise outside of all of that to be able to continue to give the curriculum to the teachers free of charge so they can get this information to the children and educate the children about water safety. The only thing the teachers owe us is data. All we want to know is how many children started the program, how many children ended the program, what milestones did they match and get through from beginning to end, and retention year over year. What are they remembering year over year? So that way we can compile a big database about how it's working, learn what we need to change in the program, in the curriculum, and keep moving forward to grow this further. Let me check over here and make sure I got everything. It's a 22-hour full curriculum in the classroom. And so it's pretty long. We understand that. Some schools are able to adopt that currently, others are not. And because we've done that and realized that, we've created a water safety week. So the educators got together and have taken those 22 hours and they reduced them to 7 hours over 5 days. And so they took the best and the brightest, what they think, of the curriculum and taken it down to 5 days. They've also created programs where you can go in and just lecture for an hour. And of course, we have the storyboards as well, which we'll talk about in a minute. Actually, we'll talk about it now. All righty, so these are our new storyboards. We're pretty excited about them. They're really easy to follow and they're engaging. They take the students through the Safer 3, the safer water, safer kids, safer response. I'll just talk through the storyboards that are on here right now. The first one on the left says, don't just pack it, wear your jacket. And that's Sammy Starfish in the boat in a life jacket, or our version of a life jacket. On the far right is reach, throw, don't go, let someone know. And we think that's really important because it doesn't get added to that phrase very often. But children need to be reminded that they need to let someone know. They can't just sit there and don't go. It doesn't help save the person in the water. And then they're actually taking an action if they let someone know instead of trying to do the rescue themselves. In the center, you've got the Safer 3 pledge, and it goes like this. I pledge to you with all my heart to do my best and do my part. Whenever water is near at hand, follow the rules and have a plan. I'll always remember the Safer 3 and work to be a safer me. That is the final storyboard that they use to kind of make a pledge to be, good follow Safer 3 me people after this program. This is the back of the storyboards, and so you see there's 4 different areas on the back of the storyboards. There's the script, which is the big side, and that the teacher will read and talk through with the children to find different areas of the storyboard that is concerned, meaning like what's wrong with this picture or what's right with this picture. There's also additional activities, which is in the middle. So I was talking a little bit earlier about the kids being a fence. You can see on here, blue tablecloth for pool. What the children would do is they would put down a blue tablecloth on the floor. They would all link their arms together and they'd become a fence. And then a child would run around. The teacher would throw a stuffed dog into the pool or a ball into the pool. The gate, the child as the gate would swing open and the children would sing, the fence is up around the pool to protect my little sister. Don't go into the pool. Don't go into the pool. Don't go into the pool. The fence is protecting you too. Now we know they're not going to remember that whole song, but when we do this in the schools and the children are learning this, the thing that they go around singing, which is the thing we want them to remember, what they're singing in the halls is, don't go into the pool. Don't go into the pool. That's what we want them to remember. We don't really want them to remember about the fencing, although it is important. We want them to remember to stop, think, check what's going on, and take the appropriate action. So that's how the experiential learning is done in the curriculum. It's all things like that. There's also notes for the educators. Here's some more storyboards. So the one on the left is all the different bodies of water and the potential risk within those bodies of water that the children should learn about. We even included the bathtub in there because that is a risk, and we know that. The one in the center is Sammy Starfish being the lifeguard. And the one on the far side goes back to swimming lessons. So it's, you see the mommy and me, or the parent and me program in the corner there. You see the children swimming independently in the lane closest to us. And then you see Timmy Tadpole sitting up there, and he just happens to be the water watcher. So you can talk about all those aspects in those storyboards. And there's a link that's right there in the bottom where you can go in, get a link to order these storyboards. They come from a print shop. It takes about 2 weeks to get to you, and they're just really cool. They work really, really well. And we just launched these. We're really excited about them. So no drowned towns. So another slide with a lot of words. So let me kind of talk you through this. So Orange County Drowning Prevention Task Force and Stop Drowning Now have worked together for a really long time. Back in the early history of our partnership, they had our Safer 3 logos on their ambulances. Orange County, they had them on their buses. They were passing out our information at events, at all their outdoor festivities, all those kind of things. So that was kind of the beginning of it. And Orange County Drowning Prevention Task Force realized at some point, about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, they were kind of stuck. They were acting as a foundation. They were not acting as a cause. And they wanted to start moving that needle and move things forward. So we started a conversation with them, or they started with us actually. And the end goal was to bring Stop Drowning Now on to start running the Orange County Drowning Prevention Task Force for all the cities in Orange County. And so we have just started doing that 6 months ago or 8 months ago when the pandemic was going on. So it's just at the very beginning. We're just launching it right now, but it has started. We were able spring before last to get some events that happened, and now we're going to start moving forward. And so we're pretty excited about it. So what does that do? What do they do for Stop Drowning Now? They fundraise on behalf of Stop Drowning Now in order to support Stop Drowning Now staff members' time to dedicate to the task force. They also promote and implement Stop Drowning Now programs in Orange County, and they encourage members to participate in city partnerships, water safety days, and Stop Drowning Now high school clubs. So what does Stop Drowning Now do for Orange County? We dedicate 90% of all funds raised from the cities back to the cities. So whether that's giving them swag stuff that they need, whether that's giving them information to pass out, whatever we need to do to help them is how we give that money back to them, and we do that to give them support. We also have a dedicated Google grant for AdWords, and then we received that grant I guess 2 years ago at Stop Drowning Now. Part of that grant now is going towards making awareness happening in Orange County. So water safety awareness is happening in Orange County from that grant. They also have access to a new data portal through Total Aquatic Programming, TAP, which is an LLC made by Mick and Sue Nelson. Mick and Sue Nelson used to be USA Swimming's Builder Pool, and they have left USA Swimming and taken Builder Pool with them and created TAP. And we are also in partnership with them. And what Stop Drowning Now is doing with them is we're one of their pillars. We're the dry side of education, and they've got the Builder Pool side, and they've got the water side, the lesson side. But what we're doing is we're supporting the data collection. So we're helping fund the data collection. We're helping fund the data outreach, because what TAP believes and what Stop Drowning Now believes is the more data we get out, the data we get out that's more recent instead of from 2015, the more information we can get to parents, the more impact we can have, the more cause-related behavior we can get from those people that we're trying to educate, because they can see real-time data. So that's what we're doing. And so that information will sit on Stop Drowning Now's website. It'll sit on National Drowning Prevention Alliance website, and it'll sit on the TAP website as well once we've launched that. It'll be interactive, and you can pull data, whatever data you want. And it's going to be a really, really great tool for everyone to use. How do city partnerships work? So city partnerships work by a city becomes a partner, and then we provide the collateral for distribution, which I'll show you what that collateral looks like in a minute. The city distributes collateral to all residents and brings awareness. The city asks local high schools to create clubs and assist parenting collateral, presenting a collateral to elementary schools. The city hosts water safety days with help from high school clubs and local swim school members. And together that helps educate residents, helps high school clubs, and it creates awareness in local school districts and additional fundraising. And it reduces drowning rates. The top of this is a little bit of a repeat, so I'm just kind of watching my time too to make sure I don't go too long. So the top of this is a little bit of a repeat, so I'm not going to talk about it. I'm actually going to get to the bottom of this slide, which is really great. So what's next with what we're doing? Our goal for 2021, and we have already started to the development part of this, is to create a new interactive community portal on our platform. It's an easy to navigate one-step place to find information, statistics, local events, water safety checklists, activities, and more. And it's designed for the residents. It is not designed for us. It's not designed for us professionals. It's designed for the residents. It gives the residents a place to go and have a resource to get information so they can educate themselves about water safety and how to move forward with educating their children and making sure everyone in their family is safer in, on, and around the water. So that is in development now. We're hoping by the end of 2021 to be able to launch that. And we'll share that information with you guys when we get it launched. This is the stuff we were talking about. So if you're a Stop Drowning Now City, you get the tent with your logo on it. You get the water watcher tags. You get the tablecloth, and you get access to the platform. So you get access to the entire curriculum, which your town does, and you can give to your schools. You can do all of that. You can have your school districts within your town have access to the platform and start educating the children in the classroom. So one of the ways you can do this in your community is the Water Safety Challenge. The Water Safety Challenge is a pretty cool event. We do it at our swim schools in New York and in Texas. And what we do is we just make it Water Safety Month, and the children for the month of May come in and they do different safety skills throughout the month that are all part of the Water Safety Challenge. And they show off their skills to their parents, and they show off their skills to their friends, and they get to take a certificate home. And so that's how we do it. And that's a very small, easy way to do a Water Safety Challenge in our pool. Community pools can do this. HOH pools can do this. HOA pools can do this in the summer if they wanted to do it. It's just really easy. Kids get to show off. They get to show off their skills. Now, on the big side of it, Johnny Johnson and Cindy Johnson of Blue Boy Swimming School in Tustin, they do it big time. So they bring in Janet Evans. They bring in Jason Lezak. They bring in the media. They bring in food. They bring in CPR educators. They bring in first aid educators. They set up stations all around the pool where the children show off all their different skills. And they make it a full day event, lots of media attention. And it's really, really an amazing event. I've been to it a couple of times. And it's just so, so impressive what they do. So a water safety challenge can be anything. And a lot of people get really nervous because they think it has to be a big thing, which is why I was explaining Swim Gym does it very small. Blue Boy does it very big. And there's everything in between that you can do on it. That also is part of a Stop Drowning Now City. They get that information, how to set those up, how to do those, and to reach out to the community through the Water Safety Challenge. This is what the Water Safety Challenge checklist looks like for Swim Gym. We don't have the life jackets and the reach, throw, don't go, let someone know in there in this one. We sometimes do, and we change it every year to do different skills. The background picture is actually reach, throw, don't go, let someone know, and the children are also in life jackets. We also have a water safety checklist. I have this up here that's the front and back. The front is in English, the back is in Spanish. That's not the way it is in real life. The front and back would be English, or the front and back would be Spanish, but I want you to see that we have both. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of read you the first one or two so you see how it kind of works. So a responsible adult is designated as the water watcher anytime children are in the pool, especially during parties or large gatherings. If you check yes, you move on to the next one. If you check no, you read, a water watcher must be assigned to children in the pool. Constant supervision is key, which means no cell phone or iPad use. And it goes on through there. The next one is, I know to never rely on water rings or other inflatable toys. Yes, no. Inflatable flotation devices give a false sense of security. So we give them both sides of it. So this is an educating tool process for the families so they can go around their backyard. They can look for bathtubs. They can look for buckets that have been turned over. And so that's all within this list. And so it's another tool. Orange County last year emailed this out to all of their families. So that's just another way that the cities use our tools. So this slide I left in because I want you to see the information. So that stuff at the top. So the book, I'm pointing like you guys can see me point. The book in this kind of front and center, that is the Safer 3 storybook. That is a downloadable book for members of Stop Drowning Now. The one in the back right corner is the Water Safety Safer 3 coloring book. And we also have a smaller activity book. So those are 3 downloadable books that can be read to children in classroom, in the home, in community centers, in churches, just to talk about water safety. You can also see the puppets kind of around. There's 2 different types of puppets. There's the actual hand puppets, and there's the puppets that are holding them on the stick. Those are actually some of the activities that they create in the curriculum. So the children have to measure the puppets, they have to cut out the puppets, they have to color the puppets, and then they have to put on a puppet show. So that's just with those stick puppets. So that's just another way that the curriculum works. So what's included in a partnership with Stop Drowning Now as far as being a city goes? The online curriculum is created specifically for Stop Drowning Now and for use for children the age of pre-K and kindergarten through 2nd and 3rd grade. Access to digital files of print materials such as the coloring books, storybooks, water watcher tags, water watcher creation station, water safety checklist, and much more. So that's all just part of being a Stop Drowning Now member as a city, or even as a Stop Drowning Now member. Co-branded marketing materials to help spread the Stop Drowning Now and your city's logo include water watcher tags, tablecloths, pop-up, and more. Perfect for community events. It'd be great if we could get more community events happening. Actually, Marion does a lot of really great community events in Miami with all kinds of drowning prevention information. Access to Stop Drowning Now storyboards at special member pricing for education events. And access to International Committee of Experts in Aquatic Education. So we try to help you meet up with the people internationally and nationally that you might want to talk to about water safety and how to better make your community a safer place to be. So high school clubs. This is another thing we're really kind of excited about right now. Let's get into it. So high school clubs help save lives. And what we've done here is we've created high school clubs. This has been piloted in Orange County. So these are kids, this is all from Orange County. They get together, they start a high school club for Stop Drowning Now. And then once they've done the club, they've created the club and they found a sponsor, a teacher or someone within the high school to sponsor the club. Then they start going to elementary schools, either showing the storyboards or doing events to educated events at elementary schools, or doing the puppet shows or the character shows. So they become the volunteers going out into the community to talk about water safety and educating children about water safety and parents. So it's really great. They become cause oriented. They start working on the cause, educating to prevent drowning. So that's what we're doing with the high school clubs. And what it does for the high schoolers, which is really great, is it gets them more involved in their community. It gets them out of the house in their community and working. It builds leadership skills. It develops new skills for them, things they didn't know they could do, like organization or working together on their own without a lot of adult supervision. They create these clubs on their own. It improves their resume and it maximizes their talents. So if they're a talented artist, they get to do even more artwork if they want to, or however they decide to do the club. The clubs are self-managed. The clubs are run by the kids. And as a matter of fact, the 3 Orange County schools that piloted this program for us, the children are writing the how-to book on how to create a club, and they've almost finished it. And it's amazing the way they've written this. So they're actually even educating us on how they did it so that we can then share it with the public, which is really exciting. Youth volunteers. What are volunteers? Youth volunteers looking to start a Stop Drowning club. That's one of our sets of volunteers. Middle school, high school, and college students. Those are volunteers as well. Students at any level can be a volunteer. And any water safety advocate or swim schools, community centers, and local governments. We've got governments reaching out to us as well. Now, part of what I wanted to talk about in this is the shirt, and that you guys see that it says "Being Something Sucks." I have the shirt here. I'm going to show it to you. We got a lot of feedback on this shirt when we first did it. I can't see myself. Yeah, I can. See if you guys can see the whole shirt. But this shirt we did as a giveaway, and it basically says, "Being number one sucks. Ask me why." On the back of it, it says, "Drowning is the number one cause of death for children under the age of 4." So we did this. We got a lot of feedback about the word sucks. The kids love it. The high school kids wear it all the time because they think the message is strong. They think the message, because, being number one in that situation does suck. You don't want to be, the number one leading cause of unintentional death in drowning. So just thought I'd share that with you. And that, again, cause mentality, not being a foundation, taking the risk, getting the information out there, trying to get people's attention, trying to create awareness. What can you do to move the needle, to change the idea, to change the thought process? Anything you can figure out to move that needle, that's good. That's important. We got to get people's attention. So community's response should be a multi-level approach. We need to talk to governments. We need to talk to schools and communities to educate parents. We need to get curriculum into classroom. We need a dry side. We need to let the communities know that drowning can happen to them, and they need to be more diligent with action. Just as we heard from the parents in the video at the very beginning, they did not know, they did not realize, they did not know that drowning could happen to them. It's always, it can't happen to me. I didn't know it could happen to me. We need to educate the public and get the information out there. It can't just be from the wet side. It also has to be from the dry side. How can you reach out to communities? Can you do it through Stop Drowning Now? Can you create your own information to get out to communities? Whatever works for you, I'm all in. Please do it. Please make it happen. Because here's what's kind of going on right now, but I still see kind of going on. Currently, we've got pool builders, fencing guys. They are in their lane, swimming that race as fast as they can to get fencing up and protect children and create barriers. Learn to swim, swimming lessons, they're in that lane. They're teaching kids to swim, teaching kids to float, and they're really working hard in that lane. Stop Drowning Now, we're doing dry land curriculum. We're working that as hard as we possibly can. We're trying to make people aware of all the other areas. I'm going to leave out lifeguards. They're swimming their race. They're going as fast as they possibly can to make sure people are safe in the water and making rescues and preventing drownings before they even happen. Making sure they're watching children, making sure they're following the rules and behaving. Here's the problem. There's 4 relays there, right? There's 4 races there. They're all swimming towards the end. They're all trying to get the gold medal, but it's all individual. We're not working as a team. I believe that us as a group of people should swim a relay. We should all be swimming together. We should all have one goal, one cause. We should not be working for our own individual gold medals. We should be working for one gold medal. And that gold medal is to reduce drowning. And I think we can do it better as a group, and I think we can do it better as a team. So that's kind of my information and my knowledge. I hope I was helpful. I hope I inspired you with a little bit of information. I hope that you have some great takeaways. I'm always happy to ask some questions. And I hope you guys have had a great conference. I'm the last one.
Yeah, no, thank you so much, Jim, for all the information. And yes, we do need to unite, because if we unite, we can actually push forward even more so. So does anybody have any questions for Jim? Yeah, this is my first time hearing you present this information, and so thank you so much for me. Personally, I loved it. So, all right. So, doesn't seem like we have any questions, but.
Cool. All this is on the website. So if they want to go on the website and learn about it, there's the different membership levels. There's the educator level. There's the swim school level. There's the sponsor level. There's different ways to join. And if you join in all those, any of those levels, you get a lot of this information. There's also a lot of free information, like I believe the water safety checklist is a free download. on the website. So all that information.
Nicole was wondering, when did the high school club start?
They started this 2 years ago, I guess, because they started the spring before the pandemic. so then they got shut down for a bit because Orange County, where they're just starting to reopen everything in Orange County. So we lost a school year.
Did the school boards give you a hard time?
No, they did not. The pushback was on the 22-hour curriculum, which is why we created the Safety Week. And that's also why we created the storyboards, to give them smaller pieces of information, because our thought was, if we can come in with the storyboards, then we can upsell the Water Safety Week. And if they like the Water Safety Week, we can upsell the curriculum. So it can go that way, which would be really great. Hillsborough County in Florida, they just took it and ran with it. They loved it. And so, and they've been doing it. Hillsborough County has been doing it 6 years. So it's just really cool.
It's wonderful. Thank you.
It's wonderful. Thank you.
Well, again, thank you so much, Jim, for sharing, and you did a very good job on your time. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Hope you guys have a great rest of the day and a great weekend.